Students out of control, teachers fear, class time interrupted. These are a few of the concerns teachers say they're having and happening in area classrooms, and they want solutions.
They do. So tonight, 13 News investigative reporter Sean Wheat hears from them. Sean, what do they have to say?
Melissa, Ralph, recent video of attacks like these have brought this issue to the forefront. Last week, a 12-year-old girl was charged for this recorded attack on a girl in a Topeka alley. And last fall, Shawnee Heights leaders took action over videos of fights recorded in school hallways. Over the past several months, I've talked to teachers, administrators, and doctors about what's being done to address behavioral issues in young people.
A fourth grader pushing you up against the wall. I have students who are hit every day.
I've had scissors thrown across my room. I've had chairs flipped. I've had students threatened to break bones. I've had a student who actually had a few limbs broken.
6 USD 501 teachers from various grade levels working in schools from a few years to 30 years all came forward to share their stories about how classrooms are becoming more dangerous for them and their students. But it's not only a Topeka issue.
This is Wichita, this is Johnson County, this is rural Kansas. You know, we hear teachers saying all the time, we're giving those lessons. We're employing our behavior systems and our behavior models. We're doing all of these things, but we still have disruptions. We still have kids getting injured. We still have teachers getting injured, and we send those students, you know, up the line to the administration, who just kind of revolves and comes right back and says, here, teacher, you know, you got to deal with it differently.
Becoming almost daily occurrences for these students and teachers, making it almost impossible for learning to take place.
There is so much chaos in the classroom and in the hallway that learning isn't happening because teaching isn't happening because you're dealing with behaviors all day. They were aggressive to other students or to the teacher or both. A kindergartner telling you that, you know, they're going to kill you.
Teachers say they're having major issues with students who have been identified as having behavioral issues. At times, they're having to isolate those students, evacuating their classrooms, sending them to the office to only have that student return a short time later.
The ones who do the traumatizing are brought back into the room 5 minutes. You know, they're calm, bring them back because you're here to learn. But the moment they're back in the room, the learning stops.
They know the system. They know that I can throw a chair to get out of class, you know, and go get a sucker or go get a piece of candy and then come right back to class. And they're coming back just as escalated as they were before they even left.
It's something that's seen in schools all across the state, and oftentimes it's up to the teachers to find a solution on how to deal with it.
We are all forced to become special ed teachers because of inclusion, and not all of us have the training that special ed teachers have had over the years. And I think if we had more bodies in the room, it would be easier to manage.
We could start with more social workers, more counselors, more mental health services. That would be the great beginning to the problem.
And in some cases, when teachers speak about needing more help, they're met with fear.
I think that's why a lot of teachers won't even speak up, because it's like, oh, it must be my fault. And teachers are scared to speak up. And I'm enough, you know, to the point where I'm like, no, we need to speak up because teachers are facing daily teacher abuse.
If we speak out or speak out too much, we have the possibility of not being renewed for our contract each year.
So if you have teachers that are reporting issues, safety issues, whatever in classrooms, but those issues are not going anywhere, if they're just going up and just kind of being filed away or not listened to or whatever, well, then that can be, you know, a problem. And I think there is some of that going on.
The KNEA says that teachers see firsthand what is going on in the classrooms, and their ideas could help find solutions. The staff that came forward have ideas and just want their voices heard without repercussions.
We need to communicate. We need to be consistent. We need discipline across the board. No matter what, it has to be consistent.
I think we do need more behavior classrooms. I think there needs to be less focus on these state assessments and more focus on mental health.
We need to have a conversation, and we need to recognize that it's a community effort. It's parents, it's teachers, it's administrators recognizing we have to take back control of children.
Now, we've asked several times for an interview with Superintendent Dr. Tiffany Anderson. They declined, and a district spokesperson sent this written statement. Topeka Public Schools believes all students have the right to have a quality public education. We strive to provide a welcoming, inclusive, and nurturing environment for every child that walks into our classrooms. To facilitate this goal, the district has established a number of behavioral supports, including social workers at each school and behavioral support plans. The use of these supports and others allow teachers to focus their time fostering the intellectual, physical, and social development of all students. Another area district did agree to talk to us about how they handle these issues. Hear from them along with a child behavioral health specialist tonight on 13 News at 10.
We'll look forward to that report, and you can join the conversation as well on our social media pages.
Teachers are telling us they're fearful, they're concerned about increased violence and behavioral outbursts in their Topeka area classrooms. We heard from several of them on 13 News at 6. And tonight we continue with 13's Sean Wheat in a special report. Sean, with the behavioral health experts now weighing in at 10.
Ralph, that's right. Schools must report incidents of violence to the Kansas Department of Education. Those numbers show in the 2008-2009 school year, Shawnee County's 5 school districts had approximately 650 violent incidents. Now, to the 2016-2017 school year, let's take a look at those numbers. The latest report available, that is, there were 830. Behavioral health experts say it's an increase schools and communities cannot ignore. Teachers have become the first line of help for children with behavioral needs.
There are more kids with social and emotional needs in our public schools now than there maybe has been in our history.
The concern, several teachers have said they don't have the training needed to help those children.
We are all forced to become special ed teachers because of inclusion, and not all of us have the training that special ed teachers have had over the years.
Districts like Siemens say they are moving towards providing more help for children with emotionally based special needs.
Well, we've definitely increased our staffing to provide a little bit more social work support at the elementary level in the last year. So we have a little bit more resource there. We try really hard to build good grade level teams and support systems. We have weekly collaboration at all elementary buildings in Siemens schools, and at least once a month they're talking about social emotional needs of their classrooms and their students.
Dr. Harrison says schools can expect to remain at the forefront of the issue. He says mental health needs are rising while trained help is declining.
50 years ago we had one psychiatric bed for 300 people in the United States, and now we have one psychiatric bed for 3,000 people. So what that means is that the supports that maybe had existed in the community have gone away, or not completely disappeared, but there's less of them. What happens then is that that responsibility falls on the schools. So are they hiring more emotional support people, such as social workers and counselors? Yeah, the rates increased even in the last 10 years.
The Kansas National Education Association agrees schools need to offer more training, but they say it's up to administrators to recognize and address problems.
When you really think about the priorities, and you have, districts with, that are putting their priorities in other places. Right. Maybe it's a public relations campaign, to make to highlight this great achievement or whatever. But those kind of obfuscate from maybe some of the real issues that are in the classroom. Well, that can be a problem, because then parents start asking questions. Well, why are we hearing this over here, but we're seeing this reported over there, and the stories are different.
Siemens schools are focused on identifying problems before they disrupt classrooms or put other children in danger.
We've worked really hard at looking at what trauma and what kinds of impacts trauma or situations that contribute to students having disruptive behaviors, being much more diagnostic and finding what the antecedents to the behaviors are. There's always something there why students are behaving the way that they are, and it could be a number of things.
The issue
issue has gained the attention of the State Board of Education. Members presented guidance to schools to be more open with parents about their policies on behavioral and violence issues, and have suggested administration ask teachers to be part of the conversation.
You have to have a conversation. You have to start the conversation about what is it that's working around here and what's not working. And you also have to invite the parents and the community in. So teachers can take a real big lead in making all this happen.
While people we spoke with say there is no one solution, a common thread is open lines of communication.
We know we can't address problems if we're not all talking about the same problem.
We probably don't have enough people in the schools right now. That's why every year almost every district is hiring more people like that.
Maybe the priorities need to shift a little bit. That takes open communication, that takes consistent policies, that takes respect for every kind of learner, respect for themselves, respect for the teacher, respect for the district, all of those things.
Now, again, we asked Topeka Public Schools several times for an interview on the topic. They declined and issued a written statement saying they strive to provide a welcoming, inclusive, nurturing environment for all students. And they offer a number of supports, including social workers at each school and behavioral support plans. At least 2 teachers, those 2 Topeka teachers that we spoke to earlier, they told us that they're leaving their jobs because of behavior issues in the classroom.
Sean, thank you. And you can watch both parts on WIBW.com.